Welcome back to the Karsch and Adnerson program. Jeff Rieger's in for Doug Karsch. Doug will be back on Monday's program. And we started getting into some Tiger talk about 15 minutes ago, and it took a turn. It took a turn when we started talking about the GMs in town. And both you and I are, I think, pretty big fans of Scott Harris and what he's done with the Tigers. And all of a sudden, we're getting a rash of people texting in that are, I never thought I would use this phrase, Alavila bots.
Al bots. No, explain it to me. I don't understand. And I noticed this trend like a couple weeks ago. People are very reluctant. They're hesitant to give Harris any credit at all. Like, I'm just picking out some ticket text. Let me read these to you, Gator, and you tell me what you think. The first one I'm looking at. Harris is just a talking head for Illich. He sounds like a salesman. Al from Macomb.
Was that Al Avila from Macomb?
Oh, maybe. I think Al's in Miami these days. Here's another one. You guys are so high on Harris. What has he won?
Playoff series against the Houston Astros. 2 playoff games against Cleveland in the divisional series. They got within 1 game of making it to the ALCS.
Here's another one. You guys, I think Matt Millen deserves a little credit too. I mean, the coach after him wasn't good, so they hired a guy that wore a muumuu, which obviously led into Campbell, Eric, and Trevor City.
Nice.
So there you go.
Nice. Like, why not give Matt Millen some credit?
I don't know. I just find it weird. I also find it weird that Javier Baez, who we all were done with, we all hated, we all now, I don't think anybody loves him. How do people feel about Baez? Like, what do you do with Baez? He made an unreal catch yesterday, and he's been a savior in center field. When they needed help at center, like, who did they turn to? Baez.
I'm not surprised that he has taken to center field and been good. I'm surprised he's better than what I thought he was going to be in center field. Being a shortstop, you're athletic. You're able to play anywhere in the diamond, pretty much. And when guys lose their range at short, they talk about them moving to the outfield and going to center field. It's a natural fit for him. He has found value. The Tigers have found value in Javi again because they can play him at short, at third, at center. If they want to put him in the corner outfield spots, they can do that too. Hell, I'm sure he can play second base if they need him to. So he has found value in his versatility. But while Parker Meadows is out, and while they don't want to use Riley Green in center field because they want to keep him as fresh as possible, because Riley Green goes all out and gets himself hurt, having Javi playing out there and as well as he has been invaluable for the team. So, and oh, by the way, he's hitting over 290 with a 760 OPS right now.
Which this time last year, through 26 games, he had a 500 OPS. I'm not even kidding. So
his WAR last year was minus 1.1.
Yeah, it's almost 1, right?
It's 1.2 right now through 26 games.
Freaking amazing. So let me ask you this, Gator, and we can hit the calls. Let me ask you this. This is a tough question to ask. I want to ask King, too. It's a tough question. 26 games. Went yard yesterday, great catch. Grand slam the day before.
Home run last night.
Is all forgiven? Is all forgiven with Javier Baez, the guy that people hated, public enemy number 1. We yelled and screamed for him to be DFA'd. We didn't believe it when the organization said, well, it's just the hips. He's having a hip surgery, and it's going to really help him rotate. Is all forgiven? Is all forgiven through 26 games? Can you bring it within yourself to say, sorry, Javi? Not that you have to apologize. He doesn't give a damn. But is all forgiven? Like, do you actually trust this man now? Because I'm borderline feeling like I kind of trust him, which is the most crazy feeling ever.
I will say that I trust him as a fielder. I'm way more confident now watching him come to the plate as a hitter because he's not dive bombing nearly as much on that slider or that sweeper that goes outside that he's been chasing for years.
Yeah, his chase rate is at an all-time low.
Yeah, he struck out 23 times in 26 games this year. That's not god-awful. His strikeout rate has been horrendous before. So I'm encouraged by that, that he's not going to throw up these ridiculous strikeout totals. Is it going to continue like this? I don't know. Baseball is a game of adjustments. Feels like every couple weeks you get a new stats that come out, new data that comes out, and teams try to approach things differently. And we'll see how this goes. But for 26 games into the season for Javy Baez anyway, it's a heck of a start for him. I was never as punitive as most people have been towards him. Although I would say this.
I was.
If he didn't have the contract he had or he has, I would have DFA'd him as well. But it's the contract they have. They're stuck with it, and it's clear they're not going to pull a Tom Gores and just eat all the money like he did with the Monty Williams
right
contract.
Now you should not.
He's got because he's brought value back. So, and my approach has always been with players that are not the fan favorite, players that fans love to hurl the vitriol at. They're really unhappy with a player like Javy Baez or a player like somebody coming out of the bullpen that people don't like. My approach has always been, I'm not going to be down on that player for this particular game until they give me a reason to be.
And he gave you a lot of reasons.
He gave you plenty of reasons.
Yes, he did. Every game almost.
Every year was a new start. And I was really curious last year when we heard he's going to have hip surgery. I'm like, well, what is that? Hip surgery? Really? Is that the issue? And I'm like, in the back of my mind, I gave it a small chance, a small percentage chance. Maybe, just maybe, the issues he's having are balance issues because the hip's all messed up. And if the hip's messed up, then the swing is messed up and the plane is all off and he's falling forward. The balance isn't there. All this, right? Maybe, just maybe that's it, and we'll see a better version of it. Well, maybe that's it. We are seeing a better version. Now, we're not seeing the all-star version of Javy Baez. He's not pumping home run after home run over the wall. He's not on pace for a 34 home run season with 111 RBIs like he did with the Cubs. But he's off to a nice start here with the Tigers, where he's better than respectable, which I think is well beyond the expectations what any Tiger fan had for him this year.
You know what I think it is? And I am not in Javy's head, although I kind of wish I was because he has a lot of money. It'd be fun to see how he spends his money. We know he likes Porsches and Mercedes and Ferraris. Anyway, I think, there's a massive purpose for Javy Baez. I think he's one of those guys that plays well when the team plays well, and the team's playing well right now. And I think he loves the fact that he gets to play center field, which he said was a dream of his. So I think you add it all together, it's like this redefined purpose for Baez. And it's insane how well it's working.
There was also something weird about him last year that despite how bad he was on the season with a 516 OPS and 184 batting average.
He was good in the clutch.
He actually was. Runners in scoring position.
Well, that's what I mean. It's almost like
a high 800 OPS.
He's got his money. He's got his ring for the Cubs. He's already done everything he possibly could have done. But there's something about when the team's good or when he's truly needed, I guess, he seems to come to play, and he's done that.
248-539-9797 is the telephone number. Have you done a 180 on Javy Baez, or do you give him any credit just yet, or are you still like arms crossed? Nope, don't like this guy. Not at all. 248-539-9797. Nolan is in Canton. Welcome to 97.1 The Ticket. Hey, Nolan.
Hey, how are you guys?
Hey, Nolan.
So, I mean, in Detroit, we have an interesting relationship with general managers. I think this whole Brad Holmes thing the other day, talking about the interview, and, with Yzerman over the past year, Scott Harris has been such an interesting character in Detroit sports because I initially thought he was, beloved and popular. I, for one, support him. But I just don't understand why, at least the public right now, can't give him any credit.
I think it's because they have their own narrative set of what players that they wanted the Tigers to acquire, whether it was through the draft or through free agency or in trades. And when it didn't follow what they wanted, that they don't like it.
Nolan,
they can't accept it. And like the draft of Max Clark instead of taking Wyatt Langford.
Yeah.
Wyatt Langford is contributing right now for the Texas Rangers. And
he's contributing a lot.
Yeah. Would he help the Tigers? Sure he would. But Scott Harris said that, I can recognize Wyatt Langford's got talent, but we think Max Clark could be superstar potential. We're going to take Max Clark.
So Nolan, you asked why people can't buy in. I think it's twofold. I think it's just this weird human thing that we do when you look at the players doing well and you're like, wait a second, those weren't Scott's players. Because who Scott drafted really isn't here yet. So eventually they will, and then we can make our own determination there. So I think it's this almost like, oh, see, Avila wasn't that bad. See. And then the other thing is, and I'm partially to blame for this, we filled a lot of people's heads with bad things about Scott Harris last year. Moneyball, and he won't spend, and he's just the right-hand man to Illich. And I think some of that stuff takes time to get over. He's been great. I mean, flat out great. Way better than anybody could expect.
And I totally agree with you. And Avila getting some credit for this roster. I think from the drafting standpoint, of course, Kerry Carpenter was a 19th round guy.
That's another one. Good one.
So was, Terry Scoble being a 9th round.
Yeah.
I was going through some of the draft audits in the last couple. I think Dylan Dingler was a 2 or 3. And the thing is, though, like the 1-1s and Riley Green, those are picks that I think any of the three of us could probably make at the time. It's just where the problem is, like I always bring up when we blew up the team in the summer of 2017. I think we got a total return.
They got nothing.
You got Jake Rogers.
Jake
Rogers, that's it.
Yeah,
For all of those superstars.
It was brutal. It was absolutely brutal. 248-539-9797. This is 97.1, The Ticket.